Hi friends, in today's video, I'm going to tell you the story of a woman who feels like she's failed in her life. And on top of that, she receives a gift that will make everything worse. So sit back and get comfortable, because in this video, I'm going to share you the story of...
Welcome to Random Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap the movie.
Polly is a woman in her 30s, without direction in life, trapped in a dead-end job and even considering going back to school. One night, while Polly is preparing for an important job interview, someone knocks on her door. When she goes out, she encounters a very kind lady who says she came to the house to look for someone, although she doesn't remember who.
Suspicious.
Seeing the confused lady, Polly invites her in and gives her a glass of water. The lady asks if she's single or if she has children. She responds that yes, she's single and she has no children. She also asks about the house. Polly tells her that the house isn't hers, but rather her sister Lainey's, who, along with her husband, rents it to her. Plus, her sister does have a daughter named Allie, whom she loves. After the conversation, the lady pulls out a wooden box that contains an hourglass for Polly, and she tells her,
"You are going to die tonight." What?
She explains that to reverse that, she has to do things, but she doesn't tell her what things. Polly gets scared, returns the box to her, and tells her to leave the house. When she escorts the lady out of the house, she calls her by her name.
How do you know my name?
She doesn't tell her how she knows it and apologizes for what she did. Polly, scared, goes back into the house and locks the door. She calls her mother while looking out the window to explain what happened to her. Seeing that the lady left the box on the street, she goes out to see if she's still nearby. Her mother asks her to calm down, since she thinks it's nothing serious. Polly listens to her and goes back into the house to try on outfits for her interview. While looking at the photos she took, a shadow appears in the mirror, but she doesn't notice. At that moment, a woman who looks like her mother appears behind her. Polly, scared shitless, goes down to the living room and starts smoking. Her mother calls her, and Polly tells her that she thinks she's going crazy because of what she just saw. She goes back to her room in search of the entity, while her mother gives her encouragement for tomorrow's interview. When she goes down to the living room, she finds the box on the table.
Well, maybe you carried it back inside.
I didn't.
And she takes out the hourglass. She tells her mother that the sand isn't falling, and her mother replies that it's because it hasn't started yet. At that moment, Polly realizes that the person she's talking to isn't her mother. The entity tells her that she will die and mocks her. When Polly hangs up on her, the doors of her house start to shake. The entity calls her back and tells her that they know everything about her, and also mocks Polly for the bad decisions she's made in her life that have led her to be a failure.
Loser! Loser!
The entity tells her that she will die unless she puts 3 things in the box: 1 thing she hates, 1 she needs, and 1 she loves before the time runs out. The entity hangs up the call, and Polly is left thinking about what to put in the box. The first thing that occurs to her to put as something she hates is the pack of cigarettes. When the time starts, the box rejects the pack of cigarettes and makes Polly start to suffocate until she vomits up a key. Scared and desperate, she runs to her neighbor's house to borrow a phone to call the police, but the neighbor is talking to her husband and doesn't pay attention to her. Suddenly, the neighbor receives a call supposedly from the police, but in reality, it's the entity that makes the neighbor do this. Before the neighbor dies, the entity mocks Polly and tells her that no one can help her. Plus, it threatens her not to ask for help again.
I'm so screwed.
Polly goes back home and tries to turn on her phone, but it doesn't work. Angry, she throws the box off the table, which reappears. A picture falls, and at that moment her father calls her. But the problem is that her father died years ago. Polly tells the entity that she did what it asked. But the entity tells her that she has to put something she truly hates, not something she pretends to hate.
You're wasting time, baby doll.
So Polly grabs the key she vomited up and opens a cabinet in her closet full of her father's belongings. She grabs a necklace with a cross and realizes that the entity has locked her in the closet. When she tries to get out, she feels the presence inside there. She looks for it until it appears to her in the form of her deceased father. And then it appears again because the entity likes to troll. The thing Polly hates the most is Jesus Christ for letting her father die when she prayed to him. This time the box accepts the object, but the hourglass keeps running. At that moment, a doppelganger of herself appears in front of the mirror. The doppelganger starts threatening her with scissors until the scissors appear in her hands. At that moment, Lainey calls Polly and tells her that she's been trying to call her for a while, because she's been calling her several times to warn her that something will happen to her daughter. Polly tells her that she didn't call her. Her sister gets worried and asks what's happening, but Polly doesn't know what to say. At that moment, Lainey says she sees Polly in her car arriving at her house. Polly warns her not to let her in and tries to get out of the house, but she realizes she can't. She tries to break the windows, but she can't. "Come on, girl, but hit it harder." She grabs the box and asks the entity to tell her what the next thing she should put in the box is. The entity shows her a video of her with Allie, insinuating that she should harm her.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Polly refuses, so to prevent her from harming Ollie, she cuts off the little finger of her foot. She puts the finger in the box and runs to get bandages so she doesn't bleed out. But the problem is that the entity isn't satisfied.
Quit your crying!
And it tells her that she made a mistake. Polly asks what it wants, and the entity asks her to cut off her index finger. With no other option, Polly does it, and this time the box is satisfied. And plus, for having done that, the entity lets her out of the house. Polly takes advantage and drives to her sister's house to see if she's okay. But when she enters the house, she realizes that both Lainey and her husband and her daughter are dead. Or, well, maybe they're just in a trance. Polly bursts into tears and tells the entity that the little girl didn't do anything wrong. But the entity keeps trolling her by playing music. And bringing the box, plus making all the phones in the house start ringing. When she answers, the entity starts torturing her with Allie's voice, reminding her of the bad decisions in her life. And it reminds her that the game isn't over yet. The entity asks her to find what she loves most. Polly, knowing it's Ollie, goes up to her room and cuts off a lock of her hair. Although the entity insists that she do something more.
You should take my eyes. No.
Polly opens the box to put the lock of hair, while the entity tries to troll her into putting something else.
What will happen? I bet it's bad.
Polly ignores it and puts the hair, which the box ends up accepting. At that moment, her sister wakes up. Polly runs to Allie's room to see if everything's okay, but when she wakes her up, she realizes that this isn't over. The entity, which now gives a lot of trypophobia, grabs Polly and stabs her. Polly wakes up at the table with the hourglass still falling. She gets frustrated and asks the entity what more it wants from her. Desperate, she puts a ring in it, but the sand keeps falling. Then she puts her necklace, and it still doesn't stop. When she puts her blood in it, a hand comes out of the box and grabs her. After thinking about it a bit, she realizes that the only way out of this is to give the box to another person, just like the lady gave it to her. Polly goes out into the neighborhood and starts going house to house, but no one comes out, until she sees a house with the lights on down the street where her sister lives. A girl named Tara comes out of that house and Polly lies to her to let her in, saying she needs to call her sister. The girl lets her in, although she gets scared seeing Polly's strange behavior. Polly takes out the box with the hourglass that's still falling, and she starts talking about how she tries so hard for her life to get better but nothing changes. Tara doesn't understand what's happening and asks what she wants. Polly hands her the box and tells her that she will die.
You're going to die.
She goes back to her house believing that everything is over. But the lady who gave her the box appears and tells her that the entity wants her to kill her.
Come on, man. It was you. Take it.
So a fight starts between the two that Polly ends up winning. She asks her why she chose her. The lady tells her that she thinks the box chooses them because they are people who are broken inside from not making good decisions in their lives. The lady did everything possible to get rid of the box and did things she regrets because of the fear she felt. She insinuates that the box feeds on that fear to drive you crazy, and she suggests to Polly not to be afraid so that the box will leave her alone. Before dying, she thanks her because she will finally have peace. Following the lady's advice, Polly decides to resist the fear of dying and does nothing until the sand falls completely. The next day, Lainey and her family wake up finding a disaster in their house. Polly wakes up and realizes that the box is no longer there, and plus her neighbor is alive. She goes to her sister's house and is happy to see Allie alive. After that, she visits Tara to warn her that she shouldn't listen to the box and asks her to give it back to help her. But Tara doesn't know who Polly is and tells her she doesn't know what she's talking about since she just got back from vacation with her parents.
I'm sorry. It's all right. I'm sorry.
Polly is left in the middle of the street reflecting on what happened, and at that moment someone calls her on the phone. But she, believing it could be the entity, decides not to answer. Everything seems to be over, but the truth is that Tara lied to Polly and she did have the box, who had her threatened not to say anything. Tara had already cut off several fingers and even gone to all extremes for the box to leave her alone. But what she doesn't know is that as long as you feel fear, it won't go away. And that is how the movie ends.